Welcome back to the Command Hub here for the Intel Extreme Masters World Championship as we get things really rolling. We can check in with some of the laptops actually as the games are currently going on still. Todd, you actually took over on Marine versus Snoot and I think a huge battle just concluded.
Yeah, they were maxed out 30 seconds ago. And right now, both players just lost a lot. HeroMarine won a big fight right now. Like if we can hop into that game right now, you guys will see. They were just maxed out 30 seconds ago. A massive fight took place, everything died, and now Snoot is struggling to replenish his units. They've been extremely close to one another the entire game in resources lost, but with that last fight win, with a lot of siege tanks, it looks like HeroMarine might be able to do it. Like he's looking in a pretty good spot right now and sieging towards the top.
I guess the crazy thing is the creep spread that's holding him on his side of the map.
Yeah, but I mean, the creep spread doesn't always win fights.
No,
HeroMarine's army is just insane. Now he's got about 120 against 70, so it's looking pretty good for HeroMarine. And again, like he's one of those sleepers guy, right? That people don't always see as doing too well, who always kind of surprises, comes out of nowhere. What is this Strange Mutalisc transition, Artosis?
Dude, that's a desperation Mutalisc transition right there.
Yep.
He's got like 1 carapace against a 3/3 Thor. How many mutas do you need to win that?
Good luck magic boxing that one.
Yeah. God.
All right, let's check in with Maynarde as well, who has taken over for Tasteless, as we have Kaelaris going up against Namsha. Still 1-1, right?
It is still not 1-1, but Game 3 is pretty damn action-packed. Kaelaris has a pretty nice army. Namsha is doing some counterattack on the other side here, and he's starting to cut into that base count here. He's killed 26 SCVs. Obviously, you know, with 56 workers, Mech Terran can still make it happen, but Namsha is starting to fight back. It was looking really good for Kaelaris for a while here, but this Viper play has been quite good for him. I think this push is still quite scary. That's a lot of tanks with +3 attack, Kaelaris.
Right.
And also the winner of this series will be up against the winner of Todd's series, because it could potentially be a TVT or a ZVZ up next.
That's true. No more cars being stolen on that one? No?
I'll check around. Where was the car? Look, actually, wow.
Ooh.
Oh, another car here.
There we go.
Better tell Neighborhood Watch.
All right, thank you very much, Maynarde. And you do have Light versus Lambo going on.
Yeah, it's still a little bit in the early game. We can jump in there. By the way, it's more than 12 mutas needed for that Thor. I'm just kind of peeking over here. That thing is not going down. But yeah, it was just like a Stargate opening. But he's actually going into Colossus tech really quickly, which is something you don't see as often. So a little bit of off-brand PVZ. But he's got his third base up and stuff. Lambo looks good, looks solid. A little bit later on the Hydra tech, going into Roaches, which will fare pretty well against Colossus. So yeah, nothing too crazy yet, though.
And as a confirmation, it seems like HeroMarine has been successful and won that series, Todd.
Wow.
Yeah, great job to him. Like, Snoot's actually falling to the lower bracket now.
Yeah, so HeroMarine is actually in the qualifier match.
Yeah.
That's sick. Who's he against?
It's actually looking like it might be Kaelaris. He's just taken a big army supply lead with a massive engagement there. Killed a ton of Namsha's units.
Terran. They're making at the same time and winning.
They're making it happen, dude.
That's how it goes. That's how it goes. All right, well, thank you very much, gents. We're ready to get into a qualifying match. It's going to be SpeCial going up against Zest. You don't want to miss this one.
Thank you, James. We are about to find out our first qualifier from the third bracket stage here. It's going to be a killer Protoss versus Terran.
Yeah, I'm very excited. Of course, we saw SpeCial not too long ago at the Intel Extreme Masters Pyeongchang. Made it all the way to the semifinals. There he did fall 3-0 against SOS. But a couple of the games were promising. And I really feel that over the last few weeks, Terrans have been starting to get a little bit better again in the matchup. I think this is doable. This is, of course, a very big moment for SpeCial, because you don't want to have a good run again, but then fall right before things get very exciting. Let's see. I mean, Zest looked very good against Bunny, but SpeCial is a very different type of Terran than Bunny is.
Absolutely. And did you by any chance watch any of the balance discussion that the pros are having in the house over there? SpeCial very vocal about struggling with Stargate openings in this matchup. So very curious to see if he's going to be on top of that. And I mean, Zest is the kind of guy who I see a lot of Twilight Robo, these sort of ground-based styles from.
Sorry, I was zoomed out. Look at that jacket of Zest. I want that jacket.
It's the body underneath that gets me a little bit more.
little bit of both, perhaps. Nah, Stargate is very popular. I'm sure we're going to see it at least once in this series. But let's take a look at the main base of our Mexican Terran player spawning in the right bottom side of Acid Plant. It is SpeCial. Now my question to you, Big, is where is that Dorito?
He's going to need it because he's facing off against a powerhouse, a player who is getting back up to his former level, a champion of IEM in the past. He is Zest.
Now, of course, the Intel Extreme Masters has a massive trophy. I think it's one of the biggest trophies we have in esports.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember when Zest won it? He always said that he wanted to lift it with one hand because he feels that people who lifted with two hands looked weak. And he's like, yeah, it was kind of heavy, but it was worth it. So Zest's real preparation for the tournament was like 1,000 push-ups rather than playing some actual Protoss versus Protoss back in the days. Now we're going to see a very quick proxy pylon here. It's still just one gas, so there is a good chance that he's going to proxy a gateway, something that DNS likes to do. We're going to see some good old Stalker pressure here. Maybe he feels that SpeCial is that type of Terran that doesn't throw up a bunker. And if you build your CC on the low ground and you don't have a bunker, Stalkers are pretty annoying units to deal with.
Yeah, SpeCial not known for SCV scouting in this matchup. As that does slow down the factory, he prefers to just get the Reaper out for scouting, which is going to give him only very delayed information about what's going on. A Zealot already starting up here for Zest as well. Actually, I've been talking to a few players about this recently. They said you just build a Zealot, you rally a few Stalkers, and the command center on the low ground always goes down.
Now that is a massive scout. Now you need a bunker SpeCial as quickly as possible. You need to get a bunker, and he also needs to make sure that he makes a Marine, at least 1 or 2 Marines, before he gets any sort of an add-on, because you want to put something in this bunker. That scout, guys, is massive. If he doesn't scout it, Zest knows it as well. He's like, okay, I got scouted. Let's just play a normal game from here.
Just back off. Yeah, I mean, a Zealot and a Stalker will be rallying across for some light pressure.
I don't think he's even, I mean...
He's going to rally across. He's got to poke a little bit. But
you need to defend against the Reaper, though. If you send your Stalker out, you're going to end up losing a couple probes.
On this map, there's no jump-in path, actually. So the second Stalker should be able to deal with it. He can just kind of poke the Reaper away if he wants to.
You think he sends his Stalker to the other side of the map? I'd be shocked, Pig.
Yeah. 100%. 100%, Kev.
All right, let's see.
Yeah, it's moving out. Second Stalker's going to get...
And now the Reaper is heading into the main base. 100%, Piggy? 100%? That's not what 100% looks like, Pig. Oh.
All right.
I think he's actually going to end up losing at least 1 probe.
Yeah, he should do. The Reaper, of course, will struggle to get out. The second Stalker coming in.
Yeah, but I think that Juanito is okay with this, right? Like, you lose your Reaper, but if you kill 2 probes, I'll take it.
More importantly, scouting the Twilight Council as well. Very nice there for SpeCial. Has all the information right now. He's got a Cyclone at home. The bunker's up. The reactor's finished.
Cheeky, Biggie. The Dark Shrine.
Yep, going to be a very aggressive follow-up. I mean, he's still on 1 base. Zest has had a disastrous opening so far. This is not the ideal situation. I mean, he's going to start the Nexus. He's going to try and do something with the Dark Templar, but all the advantages lie in SpeCial's side. And the Nexus starts. Look at SpeCial's side. He's got mules dropping from 2 command centers. He's adding a starport now. That bunker is rock solid. Even this Zealot taking a ton of damage. This is not a good position to be as Zest. He's not even going to be able to have a Warp Prism to ferry Dark Templar in the main or anything like that. He's just kind of like, well, let's run DTs in the front and hope you don't have a missile turret.
And he's still got that pylon there as well, but of course, especially now with the Cyclone out, there is a good chance that he's going to start working on this pylon. Zest wants to keep that pylon alive at all costs because, like you said, he doesn't have a Warp Prism.
Ooh, if he can get that Cyclone, that's a huge pickoff. Looks like he will actually just...
Oh, come on.
Oh, my gosh. That Stalker had no fear, man.
I mean, that's a very important snipe as well, of course, because now this pylon is going to survive a little bit longer. And I don't think that SpeCial has an engineering bay yet, right? Can we get a confirmation on this?
He doesn't right now. This is so risky after scouting the fast Twilight. He does have enough for 1 scan. 2 scans are saved up. And that's going to buy him about 30 seconds, enough time to get the engineering bay, but there's still a chance he takes a lot of damage here.
Yep, he is building the eBay, but you're spot on. There is absolutely a good chance that SpeCial is going to take quite a bit of damage. First DT gets scanned, but will it live? No, it will not live. Good move there with the hop out of the bunker.
Quick reaction there from SpeCial. And, ooh, looks like we might have had just a little slight hang there. And SpeCial going to call for a pause here at this intense moment. Good thing...
I love Juanito's reactions. Ritz is perfect.
Oh, Zest with a pretty bad start off to this series. I mean, that second gateway, to be honest, whenever I see a gateway proxy there, there's just, I gotta say, really? Does it need to be that close? Like,
yeah, maybe behind the mineral line.
Yeah, something like that, right? Surely that's gonna give you a much better chance of it not being scouted, because realistically, what happened, right? The SCV kind of poked out chasing the probe and was like, oh, there's a gateway here, all right. I'll just build a bunker and be fine, so.
Would have almost been better if that probe would have started fighting the SCV and then sent it towards the right side.
Absolutely.
And then maybe you can distract SpeCial a little bit and the SCV actually doesn't head towards the left side. But safe to say, guys, still a great start here for SpeCial, and so far not taking any damage from those Dark Templars. First scan was on the money. I was really afraid that Dark Templar would survive, because then it becomes very complicated when 2 DTs run in.
Yeah.
Excellent quick reaction with unloading those Marines from the bunker and getting those final hits off.
Good focus fire from SpeCial. And when you've already started the engineering bay before that first scan goes down, it is very important. You know, every second matters in this scenario, because even if you say wall off your main, pull the SCVs out of there, the DTs will have time, and it's hard to get that engineering bay, the missile turret up on the low ground and actually secure yourself against this. But SpeCial can definitely afford a little bit of damage. He's way up in the economy. He's had a good start to things so far.
Oh, absolutely, on the money, yeah. It seems like the game is continuing. He's going to get a Raven. I kind of like that. Why not, right? If you still have that tech lab, just use it for a little bit, and that means that for the rest of the game, when you run across the map, players like Zest are so incredibly good that if you ever want to push out without a Raven, you're going to be forced to drop like 3 scans before you make it to the other side of the map. One more DT is going to show up here. It's going to delay this missile turret for a split second. And ooh, wow, 4. That was cute. You saw that? How he put it next to the herd SCV is like, shoot at me.
He's like, bring on the splash damage, mate. Deal that friendly fire. The medevac drop is going to come in with a bit of pressure, and this is where SpeCial just gets in control of this game. 2 deep yellow stalkers, no shield battery.
That's all he has.
That's it, man. That DT is the only thing that's going to hang on here.
That's a really smart defense, actually, with the Dark Templar, because with just 2 herd stalkers, you were going to have a very, very tough time against 8 Marines and a medevac. Because, of course, SpeCial could micro those Marines a little bit as well, pick up the injured Marines, and obviously keep healing them. Good defense there with the Dark Templar. That's one of those moments where if you would have a little bit of brain lag, which I'm very familiar with, and you're just like, oh, I should wipe in like a Zealot and a Stalker, and suddenly you really start struggling against those 8 Marines, even if they didn't have Stim yet.
Interesting here, the factory is actually just going to swap back onto the tech lab. He was thinking about building a reactor, but SpeCial decides he wants to build more siege tanks here against, well, of course, he doesn't know what we can see. It's Charge Lot Archon from Zest, or actually maybe just pure Charge Lot.
I think he's going to go all in, right?
Yeah, he's kind of got to, right? Basically, he's got to try and stop SpeCial from scouting what he's up to, go for one big all-in timing and say, hopefully SpeCial's doing things like getting a 3rd command center, going for a 2nd engineering bay, investing a little bit too much in the later stage of the game.
He's not yet, though. I mean, a couple of additional barracks were thrown up, which of course is good news for SpeCial. Now, this Raven Scout is interesting, guys, because it spots the pylons, it spots the probe, and Zest is kind of telling SpeCial, I want to take the gold, but we know that, I mean, he might still take the gold, of course, guys, but he's already so committed to the cause. The longer this game goes on, the better this will get for Zest, who's going to wipe in a lot of charges in the main. That's an interesting wipe in, because obviously it means that these units are going to be stuck unless he somehow decides to recall. Could maybe go for some of the adults, goes for the eBay for a split second, okay.
Archon doing some big damage to the SCVs as well. Stim taking a ton of damage there. It's going to go down. That upgrade is denied for these Marines in this choke point. They're hanging on very well against these Zealots. The SCVs taking some damage, but most of them are still alive.
The second warp in, I think, is going to be quite questionable, as these Zealots are going to fall quite quick. More Zealots coming in from the other side, though. At least one of the tanks goes down. Well, these Zealots getting right on top of all these Marines. Now SpeCial's going to be forced to pick up a couple of his units. Good micro on both sides, but I still like it for SpeCial. The only really bad news bear is that he lost Stim.
Yeah, but oh, great counter pressure there. The Raven coming in, forcing the probes off the natural, and Zest's economy is already so small, can't afford to be taking that.
Once again, he was down to 4 army supply. He just wiped in 4 Dark Templars. He's going to go for a double Archon drop. That Prism took quite a bit of a beating as well, as our observer shows us. And it seems like once again we're having a little bit of lag. Very unfortunate, of course. Who is that? Are you Ops? He's not in the game. Or at least he's not in this building. That's for sure.
Yeah.
41 army supply against 18. But Zest is not giving up. He wants to get another. He just wiped in a couple of Zealots somewhere else. What is happening with those?
Looks like just a warp in over there. Double Prism harassment coming in. Archons from 2 sides. The problem for Zest here is the fact that SpeCial is only on 2 bases. He's really not spread that thin. But with Stim gone, it does take away a lot of the Terran mobility. Zealot's going to hit the mineral line and a massive warp in.
Yeah, but I like the bunker. The bunker setup is so safe for SpeCial, right? It's really good that he never decided to salvage that. Just makes your life a lot easier against Zealots. Once again, a lot of Zealots being wiped in. These Marines still don't have Stim. That Prism does finally get taken down. Now Zest could, of course, bring the other Prism over. These tanks are causing a lot of friendly fire, but the Marine count is still very high, and that's all that SpeCial really needs.
These War Prisms diving in here, desperately looking for damage. Zest, though, not finding what he needs. The auto turret's counterattacking at the same time. SpeCial knows he just needs to hang on. His stim is already almost finished, even after being denied before. The Marines using this choke in the buildings, they're saying. The Zealots can't get surface area, so it's just going to continually pull back. That siege tank in the middle of the base, constantly dishing out the hurt, and Zest here pulls away 6 army supply, Roddy. Not a great position.
No, he's been at 4 and 6 army supply multiple times in this game, and that's not something you ever really want to see. I love the way that SpeCial was using his own SimCity to his own advantage, right? Keep tucking those Marines in those choke points. And also a couple of times when the Zealots did get on top of the Marines, he was able to pick them up very quickly. Just great defense by SpeCial. He's running away with this game. The moment that Stim is done, Zest is probably going to tap out, because he's going to see 8 Stim Marines show up in his main base. And he's got absolutely nothing. Ends up losing an Archon as well, and I think the drop is going to seal the deal for this game.
Yeah, I mean, Zest is trying to do something, but
I think that
this is
the
crazy,
boosted
man.
Dark Shrine.
Stim Marine's going to come in, going to force the GG. Zest with a disastrous game 1. SpeCial barely has to break a sweat, shuts that one down, and takes the 1-0 lead very quickly.
Damn, what a convincing game by SpeCial. I loved absolutely everything. Besides, perhaps if we really want to find one thing we can be critical about, is the late eBay. You said it as well. He scouted the Twilight, and it's pretty obvious that SpeCial read it at first as a potential Blink Stalker pressure, Blink Stalker all in, or a Blink Charge all in. Didn't really think about the Dark Shrine, but he still handled it so well because he did save up energy. So a lot of kudos to SpeCial, looking very strong in game number 1. We're going to continue game 2 real soon, but let's check in with Kaelaris and the boys at the desk to see what's happening in the other games.
That's right, Light versus Lambo. Let's check in, as we do have the action going on right now on that top one.
Get right in there. Oh my god. Oh, GG. You guys were slow.
Rewind.
You guys were slow.
Yeah, you can rewind.
Okay, fine. Rewind it.
Don't worry.
Where's the... How do you get the thing to pop up?
Shift O.
V.
It's actually Shift O.
A couple times.
Shift O.
Shift O?
This is why we need professional observers.
Control Shift
Shift O, huh?
Control Shift O.
No,
Control Shift O. Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
Thank you.
You should press B a couple times.
Okay,
Go
here
back.
we go. Here we'll go. All right. Let's show it. Let's show it. Look, game 1 was kind of the same thing. Like, he opens up Stargate and then goes into, like, Robo and then goes into triple Robo. So it's been kind of interesting because, like, Lambo starts attacking him. And the thing is, Light doesn't have a lot of units because he's only buying Robo units for most of the game. But here we see it's just like a little Lynx around is going to come up and actually end up killing him. Because he has the Disruptors. You look at this like, oh, maybe he can hold. Oh, no. Lings around your Disruptors. GG. Well played, Lambo.
There you go.
The end of Light, unfortunately. But Lambo moves on. Definitely the favorite there.
Would you consider that retribution for eliminating Ziggy?
No.
No, not even.
Nothing can ever equal that pain.
No,
yeah.
no.
Sometimes revenge doesn't even work. It's just you just have to mourn for a bit.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess so. Gentlemen, I don't think you have your series just yet, right? Which series are you jumping into?
I'm just in the lobby right now for Daishi Namsha.
Okay. As
we saw, the Namsha lost to Kelazor 2-1 there.
I'm going to get into Kelazor Hero Marine. But I've been keeping busy, you can see.
Oh, yes, yes. Very busy indeed. Well done.
Wow.
Drawing and basically tracing the image. Great drawing skills. Let's get back to the commentator team as we do have game number 2 on the way.
Thank you very much, James. And it's great to see that Yoan Merlo, famed IEM world champion, is also an artist. I gotta love the beautiful pixel art there on the back of that Marine. Great to see him contributing with his analysis skills down on the desk.
We've been using that tool to, great advantage of ourselves in the broadcast, and we've really been, highlighting special points of the games that didn't happen, and instead we just draw stuff on the screen all the time.
I think it's added a lot to the analysis, to be fair. I think we've really brought a new level of understanding and deep analysis.
Now, I've noticed that it's very fun to use the drawing tool when the game is paused or when you have the ability to pause a replay, but when the game is actually moving, every time you select something, it already moved to a different side of the screen.
Exactly.
And you're like, oh! Game is moving too fast, and perhaps this series is as well, as we've already hopped into game number 2. We're looking at the main base of our Mexican Terran. He's up 1-0. It's SpeCial.
Going into a much more favorable map for his race, I think. He's got to be very happy picking up that game, but his opponent not going to be throwing in the towel very easily down here in the bottom right-hand side. In the red, it is Zest.
Zest, the only Protoss hope left in this bracket. And if you guys at home are wondering, like, hey, where are my favorite guys that shoot lasers? Why are they not winning? We've got another bracket later today. We'll start with that as soon as we wrap up bracket number 3. And that one has a lot of very strong Protoss players.
And you got to remember, this is just the qualification stage. There's actually a round of more hard, or just as hardcore qualifiers than the best players from those have already gone through. For instance, in Korea, we have players like Classic and SOS already through to the group stage. And that is what these players are fighting for to get through. So especially if he can win this map, he goes through to that group stage, that round of, I believe it's round of 24, right?
That is correct. We already had 12 players in it, and then 12 players will come through the open bracket. Yesterday we qualified 6 players, 3 Terrans and 3 Zergs. Today we're gonna hopefully qualify a couple of Protosses as well, because we need to keep things balanced, big.
We do need more lasers, man.
Lasers make me happy. It makes my heart beat a little bit faster. That's weird.
Hey, everybody, whatever floats your boat, you know, you be happy being you, Kev.
Oh man, I must say though, I'm so impressed with the way that SpeCial has been not only improving, but also be able to keep his level, right? Like it's safe to say that last year he really elevated himself and he reached a new high. But we've seen this in the past where sometimes players do kind of overperform and then they just fall back to being a middle of the pack type of foreigner, you know, and just being, you're top 10, top 15. But SpeCial lately has been so freaking impressive and consistent. At Leipzig he had a great run as well, only losing to Carrol. In the Intel Extreme Masters Pyeongchang he made it to the semifinals, losing against SOS. But he's making non-stop deep runs and I find it very, very impressive.
Dude, it's so incredible, isn't it? You know, even when he was often getting knocked out in WCS, quote-unquote early, it was always to the champion every single time. But here he comes with the Reaper. He sees this gateway and that delayed Nexus. And this is all obviously got to ring some alarm bells. The Zealot run by, similar to the Zerg build where you run a few Zerglings around. Coming and trying to slow down the command center. This is the, oh, he actually blocked the Reaper in with that. Oh, that's such a cool gateway from Zest. Locking the Reaper in the main base. Will he be able to actually seal the deal? The SCV of SpeCial running circles to get out of there. I think the Reaper went down.
Yeah, I mean, it was trapped in the main base, right? And Stalk is a little bit faster. I must say, I love this Zealot pick. It's exactly what you say. There are certain Zerg builds where instead of going hatchery first, you go for like a 15 or a 16 pool. You squeeze out a couple of Zerglings, you make them take a very awkward route so they don't run into the Reaper. And that is exactly what this Zealot did. I have not seen this before in this matchup. Definitely not the way that Zest has executed it here. But he is doing a tremendous amount of economic damage because SpeCial, his command center, is still not done. And now with 2 Stalkers pick, it's actually going to be quite hard to finish it up. He should shoot at the SCV. That is exactly what Zest is going to do.
This is getting desperate for
He needs
SpeCial.
to pull 5 SCVs.
Yeah, he's got to actually fight with the SCVs. He's got to repair that Cyclone. These Stalkers doing so much damage, but the mass repair is good. The Cyclone looks like it will be able to push back these Stalkers, but that micro from Zest is so impeccable. A 3rd Stalker joins up as well, Roddy.
Oh my god. I mean, I think the CC might be able to finish up after all. It's so close to finishing. There it goes. But perhaps SpeCial should actually float it to the main base. I know that there's even more economic damage, or perhaps he feels that with 2 Cyclones he can actually take care of it. But damn, Zest has been able to do a lot of economic damage already, and he has not lost a single unit yet, besides that Zealot, of course, but that Zealot was meant to die.
It's crazy how these Cyclones dominate in pitched battle scenarios, but the moment the Stalkers just back off, they shoot, they move and shoot. We see that the shields keep regenerating, the Cyclones keep taking damage, and Zest just making those Cyclones look a little bit silly, SpeCial with a rough start to Game 2.
Yeah, the only thing I must say though, I'm a little bit surprised by the work account. I honestly feel that Zest should have been much further ahead than he actually is. I think maybe he got a little bit too carried away in his micro. It's good to see that even Zest is a human being, because I think with that much of a delay, and he got multiple SCV kills as well. I think 3-4 SCVs went down in this game, right? Just 2 actually. But I mean, he delayed it for such a long time. I feel he should have been a little further ahead.
Maybe, of course, committing the Chrono Boost to the Stalkers, but also maybe missing just a little bit of pro production in the midst there. The fast blink, though, is going to give him a lot of comfort in this next stage. And
definitely charge behind this, right?
Yeah, I feel like the problem for SpeCial is you want to slow the Protoss down, right? When do you get over to that side of the map and put on pressure? You've built a bunch of Cyclones, and these aren't quite as maneuverable as, say, a Liberator or like a Mind Drop or something like that. His Starport, I don't think he even has a Starport, does he?
No, no, no.
Oh, man, yeah. So he's stuck on this just kind of frontal, just building base basic ground units, and this gives Zest so much freedom. Just chrono boost probes, we see the double forge. As you said, he's going to be no doubt adding charge on next, and as special, I mean, all of this clearly leads into either you just sit back for the entire game or you do a big tank push, and charge lots and blink stalkers are very good at shutting that down if the Protoss hasn't taken damage.
Yeah, he's gonna have to push either without stim or he waits for stim, but then he's gonna go up against all these charge lots like you mentioned as well, so it doesn't really matter which option that Special chooses. And with these stalkers already here on this front door, if he runs to the other side of the map, he's gonna be eating quite a few volleys of these stalkers. So I think the only thing he can do is just sit back and wait for stim. But that's just painful. You don't want to do that as a Terran player. You want to have some map presence. You want to be able to potentially kill a couple of workers with either some mines or any sort of harass.
We see the Marines trying to sneak their way out. Special desperate to get some information about what's going on Zest's side of the map. He wants to know that third base timing. He wants to know the probe count. And without that information, it's going to be really hard for him to formulate a plan.
I'm still shocked that Zest is only at 45 probes. I know I'm starting to sound a little bit like a broken record. And I guess he kind of interrupted his probe production because he wanted to get all the production facilities down. But Zest, you have unlimited freedom. And he actually knows it as well, not just because of the observer, but he's got the stalkers there. He knows he doesn't have to worry about anything too much. He could have been at 60 probes, for real.
I actually have got to totally agree with you on that, Kevin. I mean, one of the best things you can do as a player is you get an advantage or an edge, as he did with slowing down the command center. You push that advantage, you run away with it. But Zest playing so middle of the road, he almost looks a little bit frightened. He wanted to get down 9 gateways straight away, but he actually cut so many workers, and once again, he's frozen up on the probe production. I think he's basically saying, look, I think Special is just going to do a big 2-base push. I want to just stop probes here, make a massive army, shut down the push, and then counterattack. But this is a very rigid plan. There's not a lot of flexibility here for Zest.
I think with the type of army that Zest is working with as well, when you're going to be very heavy on the charge lots, you really do need a commanding economic lead, because otherwise, if it gets quite close and you take one bad fight, Special can micro back, he can kite back for days, and if you go up against that, you just need an overwhelming economy that by the time that he's done killing 7 zealots, you warp in 10 more and be like, good luck, have fun, you know, keep kiting. But with only 53 against 44, you can't really take trades like that. However, at this point, Zest finally getting closer and closer to that sweet, at least 60, 62 probe count that I think you really need with this style. And from that point on, obviously the upgrades are the one thing that he does have going for himself.
I mean, we've got like 3 Immortals out. How many sentries are there out right now? Oh, 2. It's 2 sentries. So yeah, okay, mostly Guardian Shield focus. There's a lot of firepower in this army. He's not really going to be able to buy time or split the army.
I really like this drop by Special because this forces Zest to pay attention to his main base and also allows Special to just walk across the map uncontested.
Yeah, that drop there does do a little bit of damage. Zest going to come forward here with a nice force field. Split Special's force up. Very nice start to the hold here. Zest just going to pull back. He wants to buy time. He knows he's got the superior economy. He's got great production right now. Special wants to push in before this upgrade advantage gets even worse.
More Zealots being warped in though. Zest is going to come in from all angles and the tanks were not sieged up. All of these bio units are trapped and I don't think there is a way that Special can ever win this fight. He decides to evacuate with whatever he has left. At least he got a couple of Stalkers on the north side. But the only thing that Special had was an army supply advantage. Well, no more.
Third base is finished. Zest has the army count. His 2-2's almost done, but he doesn't even need to wait for it. He's going to reclaim absolute map control. Special desperately trying to counterattack. Very nice warp in. Zest shuts it down, and good recovery from the Korean Protoss player.
That was a clutch warp in by Zest. I loved it. He knew those units were still out there somewhere and probably had the feeling that Special would come back after Special saw the forces of Zest in the middle of the map. But it warped in a couple of Stalkers, shut it down. And that's all she wrote for game number 2. Obviously, I love the way that Zest played it. I think he had a great start. I think he had great map control. He really dictated this game from start to finish with the Zealots, with the Stalkers, with the Blink Stalker pressure. Only thing he could have done is perhaps take a bigger economic lead because he did have that freedom. But in the end, the hold was magnificent.
Yeah, a great hold from the Protoss player. Of course, Special there, not with the start that he wanted here to that second game, and I've got to think about it from Special's point of view. Early on, of course, he did go for an SCV scout just before the Reaper came out, so he could have chosen to keep the Reaper at home, but the conundrum, I think, there is that his SCV didn't scout the fact that it was only 1 gas in the main. So obviously, you see a delayed Nexus, you think, okay, there's going to be a faster Cybercore. There's 2 options. There's either faster tech You know, very fast Oracle opening being one of them. The other one is this opening, where you get a Zealot out, you get some Stalkers, and you look to slow down that command center. I think SpeCial there, if he sees that sort of thing again, potentially pull the Reaper home, deal with that Zealot, because by the time the Stalker gets over there, you will finish the command center, and then you can make an orbital, lift it off if you need to, defend your ramp, right? The weak point is that SCV on the low ground being exposed building the command center. That's where Zest built his advantage from.
Yeah, this is not something that you can pull off 3-4 times in a row against SpeCial, but I still think it's so new from the Protoss side that I can't be too critical of SpeCial. I mean, who rallies a random Zealot to the other side of the map to delay the command center, right? Like, everything you say, of course, Big, is spot on. And once again, SpeCial, this is one of those reality check moments. It's like, okay, so this is a thing, and I'm probably never losing to this again, but I can't fault him too much for being caught off guard against that random Zealot. But it really worked out well for Zest. We saw a couple of cool results as well come by in the bottom side of the screen. Risky, taking out No Regret 2-1.
Oh, really? I didn't even notice that. Wow, that's actually a huge result.
What a great victory for that young British player who's still going strong. I also saw that Daishi took out Arctur 2-0, which I think is also a nice victory for old school Daishi.
Dude, that's a big one. But here we go, guys. We are going to be getting back into this series. It is a qualification match and one game away. Down here in the bottom right-hand side of Backwater, it is SpeCial.
And on the left top side of this large map, looking at the main base of the amazing Korean Protoss player, is Zest. Qualification for the group stage is on the line. We are currently in the round of 72, but after today, there will only be 24 players left to compete for the title, becoming the next Intel Extreme Masters Katowice World Champion. Could be the same. TY is still in the running.
Oh yeah, man. There's so much money on the line as well, you know. We talk about qualification match. It's like, yeah, also a couple $1,000s extra. Like, already
every
guys
round
have made
every round is big. Yeah, even Saul yesterday. Some people might be like, oh man, poor Saul, he got so close to qualifying. I'm sure he's really bummed out about it, but he still got more than $1,500 for getting that close to making it to the group stage. I just think that's amazing, and cannot emphasize enough on how important I think that is as well for the scene. You can't just pay out the top 8 and top 16, because then people will be demotivated and they'll stop coming to these events.
Exactly. You know, you've got to, of course, have those underdogs, those players coming up the ranks and getting, you know, a little bit of reward as they go for working their way up the rankings.
I'm sure it's tingling for you as well, Pig. If you look at this tournament, you'd be like, you know, win 2-3 rounds.
Hey, man. You
could
know,
have been adding to that esports earnings.
Get the right bracket. Maybe my opponent's jet lagged a little bit. Maybe I can pull out a little cheese. Why not? Get some Ligulac rating going once again.
This is just a fantastic tournament for us as commentators, but I think for all the players as well. And it really shows the players seem very comfortable in the practice area whenever they're walking around. And even though this is such a
really cool environment for them,
it's such a massive, big tournament, but everybody seems so happy and relaxed that at the same time I do feel it also allows them to play, you know, up to their fullest potential.
Get in that comfort zone. No lack of air conditioning here.
Where's that SCV going? Is he going to proxy the starport? I would really love to see him do that.
Oh, yeah.
I think this is one of the best builds. You open up with 4 Hellions, you rally these Hellions to the top side of the map, and then you have the medevac here. Because obviously, if the medevac is here immediately, the Hellions will be here. He's going to go for a Widowmine.
Yeah, and sometimes we even see like Liberator follow-ups, all sorts of things. Sometimes there's a delayed Banshee you can do. It really keeps the Protoss player guessing and opens up the potential for a lot of damage there. There is a second factory.
Okay, Juanito going old school with the build that he busted out against Neep multiple times last year, where he proxies the second factory and he gets a bunch of Cyclones.
This is crazy. And because just Widow Mines at home is just like, looks very defensive, looks very straightforward. And Zest, I mean, he's going for information, right? He's going for the observers off the robo opening. He's just going to be scouting around. I actually like that he opened up with the Adept as well, because already this kind of paints a picture of someone going for Stargate. Did the Reaper get in the main? I don't think it spotted the robo, did it?
It didn't get in the main because the pylon blocks the Reaper from entering. A single pylon blocks the Reaper from entering on this map.
That's actually so good, right? So
yeah, I love it.
You're probably
map design.
Thinking there's got to be like an Oracle coming or something like that. Shout out to Avex. But yeah.
No, you're right. I mean, this is just Obviously, Zest is doing a good job in keeping SpeCial in the dark and having that robo, but he gets a robo bait. That's not what he needs. Oh, he scouted it with the Observer. Now you can just make Immortals. Like, you cancel the Observer, exactly, and you want to queue up your Immortal, I think, as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
Why is he getting extra gates?
He might just... Okay, so 2 shield batteries at the front, an Immortal coming down, yeah. And the problem here for SpeCial is he doesn't know it's being scouted. There's no way he could tell that Observer spotted that. So this is just going to be such a good planning here for Zest. He's going to be well prepared. That Immortal being chrono boosted is almost there. The Stalks and Adepts already intercepting these units.
The Immortal's still a little bit late, though. Maybe these Cyclones can get something done before Big Daddy Immortal shows up. That's a lot of Stalkers, though. Zest is so far doing almost everything right. That Adept might fall, but the Adept is not that important as long as the shield batteries go up. And now the Immortal shows up. And I also love Big that he's getting a second Immortal. Even though he has a Robo Bay already, he knows that Immortals right now are the most important unit to have. And I think SpeCial is going to have to abandon this mission.
Yeah, man. Immortals have this magic trick where they make Cyclones disappear. They just destroy them so quickly. Doesn't matter how much repair you go, the Immortal just blasts them to pieces. Like, one Stalker's gone down. Great micro from Zest. And SpeCial can't even retreat. These Marines are slow. He's taken so many losses here. And I mean, that's almost it. SpeCial just has to tap out. GG.
Wow, one of the worst builds to go up against for SpeCial, but what a good read by Zest. The Observer scouting that factory and immediately queuing up the Immortals. Man, what a way for Zest to turn this best of 3 around as well. A rough game 1, but a very solid game 2, and obviously a smooth sailing game 3.
Yeah, a little bit surprising after the way that first game went, but you can see both players not really just sitting back and playing standard. They both wanted to throw some curveballs. They wanted to catch each other by surprise. And in the end, it is going to be Zest that stands strong. We will be hearing from the man himself with an interview down with Smix in just a few minutes. Don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be right back.
Hello and welcome back everybody to the Intel Extreme Masters Katowice 2018. In Bracket 3, we just had our first player qualify for the group stage, and it is, perhaps to no one's surprise, it's Zest. So first of all, congratulations Zest on qualifying. You were one of the favorites definitely for the Bracket 3, but yesterday we definitely saw some upsets where last year's Katowice Grand Finalist stats dropped out. So seeing a result like that, were you worried at all that perhaps maybe that could happen to you as well?
일단 진출 축하드리고요. 어저께 좀 놀랍게도 김대엽 선수가 작년에 결승전까지 갔는데도 떨어졌어요. 그래서 그걸 보고 나도 떨어질 수 있겠다라는 걱정을 하셨나요?
일단 대엽이가 떨어진 건 좀 저한테도 좀 충격적이었는데, 근데 저는 해외 선수들 기량이 많이 올라왔다고 생각했기 때문에 뭐 남일이 아니라고 생각해서 더 집중해서 좋은 결과 나온 것 같아요.
So he says, definitely when I saw that Stats was knocked out, it was very surprising to me. That being said, when it comes to foreigners, I was already aware that they have improved so much. So I wasn't particularly surprised that he lost to a foreigner. And I just thought to myself, as long as I stay focused and make sure to stay concentrated when I'm playing against them, I think that was the reason that I was able to do well against SpeCial. Now, when it came to SpeCial, the only game you lost was game 1, and it just felt like nothing went your way. After that game was over, were you sort of caught off guard by that, or did it affect your mindset headed into the future games? 일단 그 첫 번째 경기밖에 안 졌는데 그 경기 지고 난 다음에 좀 당황하셨나요?
일단 3판 2선 승제이기 때문에 첫 경기 진 거는 당연히 부담감으로 다가왔고 최대한 그 여러 가지 빌드를 쓰려고 했는데 하필 첫 경기를 져가지고 좀 뒤에 2, 3세트에 대한 빌드가 걱정이 되긴 했지만 그래도 자신감 가지고 해서 좋은 결과 나온 것 같아요.
So he says, because it's a best of 3, losing that first game definitely puts a lot of pressure on me as a player. There was a lot of variety of builds that I really wanted to show, but losing that first game, it made me kind of worried about the builds that I would use in games 2 and 3, but luckily I was able to close those out and win the entire series. Now, Zest, I know that Katowice must be a special tournament for you because you are a previous champion of Katowice from 3 years ago. So coming into this year's Katowice event, what are your goals? 일단 3년 전에 카토비체 우승자였잖아요. 그래서 카토비체가 좀 약간 더 의미 있는 대회일 것 같은데 이번 올해에는 무슨 목표가 뭐예요?
뭐 목표는 당연히 모든 메이저 대회, 작은 대회 가릴 거 없이 우승하는 게 목표인데 일단 월챔에서 15년도에 너무 그 팬분들의 환호가 아직도 기억에 생생히 남아가지고 그 기분을 다시 느끼고 싶어요. 이번 대회에서.
So he says, when it comes to 2018, my goal is definitely no matter what tournaments, big or small, to win. And when it comes to Katowice specifically, in 2015, I can't forget to this day the passion and the uproar from the fans in the crowd. And I really, really want to feel that presence and that passion once again. So that's what I really want to look forward to at this year's Katowice. So congratulations again, Zest, on qualifying for that group stage. James, back to you.
That's right, Zest is able to advance on to the round of 24. And we have many updates to bring you here from Command Hub Intel Extreme Masters, as Todd stares at me very intently and didn't realize he was on program. Hey! Let's check in with Artosis. Artosis, you did have Snoop versus Hellraiser. How did that go?
Yeah, I only got to catch game number 2 in there, but it was pretty one-sided. Hellraiser tried to do a 1 Immortal Mass Charge Lot 2 base all-in.
Okay.
And Snoot likes to make queens and defend well. And he had a bunch of roaches and just kind of destroyed the attack there. It wasn't very close, and cleaned that up and moves on.
Fair play, fair play. Initially, I did want to go over to Maynarde now, but you are still kind of browsing through your game. Yep. It was a long game, so we're going to kind of skip you for the moment, and we're going to check in with Todd, who did have Kaelaris versus Hero Marine.
Yeah. I had a fantastic drawing earlier, but then the games finally got started. Kaelaris in game 1 tried for a Proxy Reaper, which was defended very effectively.
Yeah.
Hero Main, I warned you about him. Don't sleep on him. This guy, perfect counter-attack, wins game number 1 swiftly. Game number 2, we can go into it. I just want to talk a little bit while it's paused, because I think what Hero Main did was beautiful. He made a lot of Cyclones, and I think that's because he had scouted the starports, and he hadn't been scouted at all. Kaelaris had seen nothing.
Right.
So Hero Main, he's waiting for that Banshee to come, and when it finally comes here on his side of the map, he's already getting a turret, and he already knows he's going to defend this and then counter-attack. So he cleans this up after a scan, heads across the map, and by this time Kaelaris is like, oh my god, I need a bunker. He starts it, but a bunker takes very long to get up. So Hero Main gets there, and he literally wins the game with just a couple Cyclones by killing this, or getting the cancel on that command center, killing a bunch of units there. He just gets so far ahead, his expansion already being up. Like, there is just almost no way for Kaelaris to come back from there. So
Right.
very clean game, I would say, from Hero Marine.
That bunker takes too long. When's the bunker going to be patched again? That's my question. We never had enough bunker changes, I feel.
I agree with this. I think that the next patch we could look into that.
That's
More
fine.
bunker rushes against Protoss.
Isn't Protoss doing not so hot against Terran this tournament? We heard something like that, right?
Oh no.
From Maynarde was telling us
From
about
Twitch
the Twitch chat before.
all right, so yeah.
Could be.
Well, let's check in with Maynarde as well. Maynarde, you did have Namshar versus Daishi, I believe.
I do, and not really the result that everyone would have expected. I mean, Namshar's been looking better and better and better every single WCS, and Daishi, he's an old school Terran, a long time between drinks for him. Sorry that I'm scrubbing so fast here, but this is probably the moment where, you know, it looked like Namshar had a shot in this game, but Daishi managed to keep his army supply really high. This is a big overextension from Namshar. He loses a lot of his army there. Namshar's messaging me right now. That's kind of rude, bro. I think he's probably just trying to get me into game 2, I suppose. But, you know, Namshar does have this army, but we can see that Daishi, you know, the writing is on the wall here. When you're up this far with a mech army here, he is just going to counterattack. He's going to find a nice little spot here, like in between these reinforcement points for Namshar. Siege up, and we are going to see a massacre. Look at the siege line. He can't get anywhere near it. He's got one blinding cloud left in him. And the mech is just going to do the rest. Makes it happen.
The soup didn't lie here.
It did not at all.
Sure.
GG.
Hero Marine, by the way, is through. That was a qualifying match against Kaelaris. This is a big deal.
Wow.
Impressive stuff.
Yeah, I guess Kaelaris goes down that loser bracket, though. That's kind of a crazy loser bracket. Snoot and Kaelaris are both down there right now. Bunny as well, right?
Yes, I believe so. In fact, we can check in with the bracket and get you up to date, as we do have Zest and Marine being able to qualify through to the round of 24. Hero Marine, what a road he's had there. No, indeed, he's a hero. That's for sure. We do have Kaelaris and SpeCial going to be sitting in that lower bracket number 4. And then we have Bunny versus Lambo. I think that might be our next match here on the mainstream.
Well, I'm in it in this one, so I don't think that's...
It's not our mainstream match.
Well, it's the laptop number 3 match, so...
Number 1.
Number 1 match. So I guess not. I guess not. But that means it must be maybe Snoot versus winner of Namshar Daishi?
I think so. I think so. All right, thank you very much, gentlemen. It's time to go to a short break here at the Intel Extreme Masters. When we return, more StarCraft action. Let's go.